So we have Greasewood Springs, and who is your representative here? Who is your sponsor? Derek.
Good morning, Adoyat Shea Derek Curly Ayan Shia. Nanisht Ejetachin Ain Slentkapaha e Bashichin. Ki Ane Dashanella Dokin Lachini e Dashache. I am the chapter manager for Greasewood Springs. I've been the manager there for 7 years now. So I kind of have an idea. I've been with the chapter for about 13 years prior to that. So I've been with the chapter long enough to kind of know some projects road-wise or through transportation. But first of all, I am here with our chapter secretary treasurer and our chapter vice president. I'll have them introduce themselves just really quick.
Yate Bennett, I'm Shea Julia Benali,
Good morning, everyone. Shea Linda Yazi and Shea Maidesh Gishnin and Shlintwitchini Bashichin. Nakidna Edashichedo Tsanajini Edashanala. I am the secretary treasurer for our chapter, and we too have a lot of community concerns ranging from safety and welfare, frustration, anxiety, anger when people come to our chapter meetings. So I am glad that we are having this chapter outreach. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, officials. Okay, so for Greasewood Springs, just like what Cornfield's Alfreda said, one of the biggest concerns for Greasewood is the N15 route. Of course, there's a lot of potholes and the 3 phases, and from what I understand from the last report that I'm aware of is the 3rd phase from Sunrise to Greasewood, that there's no funding for that section. So, but for the other 2, we are supporting Cornfields and Ganado, or chapters that are along that route, and pushing that project. And right now, same thing, we are urging NDOT as well to, push the historic preservation for the art clearances for that route. And right now, our chapter president, who is not here with us today, but he initiated a petition for N15 route from turning it over to become a state route. So he initiated that about a month and a half probably. And so far we've been getting a lot of support through signed petitions through from Kintlichik chapter down to Bird Springs. So that's kind of just on the planning phase right now. And we did pick up all those petitions yesterday, and we got quite a few back in return. Another project was, of course, you guys are probably all aware, we've been probably bugging you guys the most. It was for our N9003 bridge project for Greasewood Springs. It's an earth route. It's on N9003. And that project has been on the table for decades now, probably in the mid-70s it started. Luckily, we're fortunate enough to have moved this far with this project, and it's starting to move on this project. So, and we thank NDOT for your assistance. Every time we go there, you guys are always willing to assist us and point us in the right direction for this project. Right now, that project, the designs are complete. Dibbles Engineering has completed that design. We are in the process of working on the right-of-way and compliances through BIA and NDOT. And also, the major factor is looking for funding. Right now, the chapter, we are trying to look for funding at the tribe, local, county, and state level. We've been meeting with state legislators and House of Representatives and Navajo County, NDOT, just trying to get some direction on which way to go next. But right now, it's basically a shovel-ready project, but we're just looking for funding. And for the N15, let me go back to the N15 as well. What I wanted to suggest was one issue that we have right there in Greasewood on the N15 route is the egress and ingress to the turnoff. It's at a slope that where during weather, it never fails. Everyone slides off the road when they're making that turn. The highway is at a slant, kind of like a slant. So it's very hard for trucks and school buses, everyone. Every year we probably get like 15 to 20 people that slide off the road right there trying to make that turn to the Greasewood School, to the Greasewood chapter. So that's just something I wanted to bring to your attention as well. And another project that we're looking into is the N28 crossing. N28 crossing is the earth route that connects Greasewood to Tlagato, and it goes across the wash, that little pueblo, Colorado. N28, and it's a flood zone right there. With the latest, last year we went 3 months with the water constantly flowing, and it destroyed everything. People had to detour an hour and 20 hour to 40 minutes around cornfields or ganado just to get to Greasewood. What would take somebody that lived across that wash 5-10 minutes to get to the store to get their necessities or check their mail, it took them about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes just to do that. So that has been a big issue with our community. We've just recently had a chapter meeting this past Sunday as well, and that was another concern. All the community members that live up in that area, it's a constant request of the chapter to do something about those routes, the N9003 and the N28 crossing, just because the wash runs, and the wash was running just a couple of weeks ago, but luckily it was not as much. But we are still thankful for the precipitation that we've been getting. Same thing, we want to get both projects on the TTIP listing as well, and we are working with NDOT on that as well, and we thank you for that. We just want to appreciate also the BIA, our road blading agreement that we have in place now with the chapter, which allows us to top blade our roads that need it, and since then we've been doing it almost on a weekly basis. So that is in set. And we're also working with the Army Corps of Engineers on both projects as well. And then I did submit a resolution to redo our 15-mile road blading services. And right now, we only have 3 routes of 157, 153, and 6001, and they're all at 5 miles each. So I think that is the latest update, unless I left anything out, officials. That's the latest update in our projects for Greasewood Springs. Thank you.
Thank you.
For Derek.
One thing that I did want to remind all the chapters is if you have road-related resolutions for the last 3 years, can you resubmit them all to planning? Because we want to make sure that we have all of those ones. One of the things, I used to work at legislative, I always thought, everybody's doing resolutions, but where does it go?
Right.
You know what I mean? We kind of send it to the people that we think are supposed to get it. And in our case, what we'd like you to do is whenever you do resolutions, send it to the planning section. Then planning will coordinate with the different sections that can respond to your questions. Does that make sense? So if you can help us and pull all of those ones. One of the things that this and the information we're sharing is the update for the long-range strategic plan is 2 years away. 2 years away. So we're trying to start gathering data now so that we can include all of the projects that are in there. So if you would please send us all of the information. I'll go on ahead and let Leanne address how to get it onto the TTIP thing. And I think she might be, you might be one of the 104 bridge projects, so I'm sure she'll verify that one. And then it sounds like you're asking a little bit about maintenance. One of the things that we're working on is updating the mileage thing, because to me, we need to do a little bit more than 15. But we're trying to make sure the resources are in the right place. So one of the things that we did is we're trying to designate 11 anchor sites across the Navajo Nation where we can put up a fence, put up a shelter for the graders so that they can get in and out of those things. So when we do that, hopefully we're able to then provide more services more at a local level as opposed to coming all the way from different places. So if we do make changes on that, one of the things that I'm going to be recommending is when you do your 15-mile one, we're going to up the mileage, but we also want you to prioritize which roads you want serviced more often and which ones less. Does that make sense? So you all have different, remember I got to drive this 151 road one of these days. I think that's come up in 3 communities. So, but the change would be we'll up the numbers, but when you resubmit your priority listing, we want you to prioritize them. Does that make sense? So they'll be like, if we're going to service your area, we want this one done for sure. This one, if you can, and if you're ever done and you're bored on a day and you know to go grade something, this one. I don't know how to crack a joke, so. But anyhow, one can try. But we want a higher number. We'll get that to you guys. But we also want you to prioritize your list of the roads that you want us to maintain. So that will be a change. Hopefully within the next quarter, we'll get that out to you guys. Okay? So I'll give Leanne some time.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. Again, Leanne Roy with Transportation Planning. So with the regional routes, I noticed, I think I heard you wrong. For Greasewood, we have 153 route, 153 BIA, 5 miles. We have 157, 5 miles. And then I have 9,001. Did you say 9? Okay, I was like, 6,001? I don't think that's a number that falls in the area. Okay, so we do have an updated regional route list. Okay, I was gonna ask you for a new resolution. But those routes, you are allowed to change them if you want to, and normally, as the elections come around, it starts to become political. They get changed, the routes get changed, and then they go back. So we always want to mention to the chapters that the regional routes came about early 2009, 2010. So with all that, those years, there's a whole lot of effort that has gone through, meaning NEPA process, archaeological clearances, and bio, and what was the other one? There was one more, but you got to go through all those because once that blade touches down, we got to look for all those archaeological sites also. And as you heard just earlier, archaeological sites can take years to get those cleared. So with the TTIP, the process right now, we are taking, and please, when we get Mrs. Yazzie in the building here and meeting with the chapters, we will have her meet with each chapter and come up with what we call a agency draft TTIP list, meaning potential routes, potential bridges for improvement. Now, we're talking about improvement. If an example is let's say you want to add a cattle guard, or you want to up the dimensions of a culvert, or you have a washout, low water crossing, but there's no bridge, but you want to put a bridge there. For the, we've heard a lot about bus routes. Those are bus routes that the bus sometimes get stuck. We have muddy roads out here. So with those type of examples, please go through that TTIP process. And it's a 5-year process, so the next one's 2006. So please don't wait till the 11th hour. Get your resolutions to us by June, because we still got to go through a 13-step cycle. And that will be one of the trainings that we can give with planning department. We have 4 trainings that we can sit down with you and go through the whole training within 1 day. So thank you for that question.
Just a quick response to the egress to begin KDGIA. Write a resolution to these guys. They'll do an intersection analysis. They'll count how many turns are being made, see if it qualifies for that egress. Okay.